It's late, and the world is asleep, but not you. You found your way to me. I'm Vera Nocturne, and every night I dig up the cases the world tried to bury. The stories that don't let you sleep. Tonight's case is one of them. So lock the door, turn the lights down low, and stay in the dark with me. The workers thought they were fixing a sewage pipe. New ceramic tiles laid clean and even across a backroom floor in Cairo. For years after, families rented that apartment. They cooked dinner there. They slept there. Their children played on that floor. And the entire time, just inches beneath their feet, lay the bodies of 3 people. Murdered, hidden, paved over. The man who put them there wasn't a monster anyone could see coming. He was charming. He was the last person you would ever suspect. And that was exactly how he got away with it. His name was Gaddafi Farag. He was born in 1971 in a working-class district of Cairo called Bulak. He studied law at university, though he never once worked as a lawyer. Instead, he built something that looked like a success story. He opened a chain of bookstores. He started a factory that made toys for children. To everyone around him, he was a pillar of the community, a devout, generous man who moved with the easy confidence of someone with nothing to hide. And people trusted him. That was his real talent. When Gaddafi Farag looked you in the eye and smiled, you believed him. You handed him your savings. You introduced him to your sister. You let him into your home. But the man everyone admired was a fiction, a role he played to perfection. Behind the warm smile, there was no warmth at all, only appetite. Farag married women, then quietly left them. He never told the next wife about the last. To him, marriage wasn't love, and it wasn't even commitment. It was a doorway. A way to get close to people, to their money, their property, their gold, and then to vanish before anyone thought to ask questions. For years it worked. He moved through other people's lives like a shadow. And then, in 2015, taking stopped being enough. That was the year the lies turned into something far darker. It began with his closest friend. Reda Abdul-Latif was 48, an engineer who spent most of the year working abroad in Saudi Arabia. He had known Farag for years and trusted him completely after all. This was a respectable businessman with a law degree. So when Farag offered to invest Reda's money and grow it for him, Reda agreed. He handed over large sums, believing it was going into something real. It wasn't. Farag was spending it. And when Rita came home in 2015 and asked for his money back, Farag understood the danger he was in. If Rita talked, the whole illusion would collapse. So he invited his friend to dinner. The food was poisoned. Once Rita could no longer fight back, Farag killed him. But he had planned this long before the meal was ever served. In a back room of his Bolak home, he had already dug a deep hole into the floor. He placed Rita's body inside, and then he did something almost businesslike in its cruelty. He hired workers to tile over the spot, telling them it was just a repair. Then he picked up Rita's phone and texted the dead man's wife a lie, that he'd been arrested at a protest. And from that moment, Gaddafi Farag stopped being only himself. He began living as Rita, taking the dead man's name, his papers, his entire identity. It didn't end there. Soon after, Farag set his sights on another woman he intended to marry. But her sister Nadine didn't trust him. She saw what the others had missed, and she warned him, "Stay away from my sister, or I'll tell your family exactly who you are." It was a threat he couldn't allow. He lured Nadine to the slipplayer al-Larotichs. He strangled her and buried her right beside Rita. Then came the cover story. He told her family she had run away, gone to France with a film producer to become a model. It was humiliating enough that they stayed silent. They didn't search. They didn't report her. They simply carried the shame of a daughter they believed had abandoned them. Farag had counted on exactly that. He understood people. He understood what they were too proud or too afraid to question. His third victim was his own wife, Fatima. During a fight, afraid he was about to marry someone else, she had taken 400,000 Egyptian pounds from him. They later reconciled, but she refused to give it back. For Farag, money always outweighed a life. He brought her home, and during an argument, he killed her. He buried her under the floorboards with the others, then took her jewelry and her cash. By now, the apartment in Bulak held 3 bodies, and Farag was Habakbarkai. Still wearing Rita's identity like a borrowed coat, he sold off the stolen property and left Cairo behind. He moved to Alexandria, opened a shop selling electrical appliances, and started over. New city, new name. The same predator underneath. In Alexandria, he hired a young woman named Yasmin and ran the same play he always ran. He told her he loved her, that he wanted to marry her, and while he charmed her, he was secret he kept all the money for himself. When Yasmin discovered the fraud, she confronted him and demanded her money back. So he invited her to his store, promising her some tools she could resell to make up the loss. She came. She trusted him, the way they all did. He killed her there and buried her inside one of the rooms. 4 victims now. A best friend who believed in him, 2 women who saw the truth and dared to take it, and a white child. Every one of them shared a single thing. They trusted Gaddafi Farag, and it killed them. For a while, it seemed he might never be caught. He kept moving, kept reinventing himself. He married a doctor from a wealthy family, had a child with her, then separated. And when he saw an opening, he took it, disguising himself in a niqab, the full face veil, to break into his ex-wife's apartment and steal her gold and cash. Her family's cat that went, but when they went looking, they searched for a man named Rita, the dead man whose identity he still wore. They found nothing. Then, in early 2019, he became someone new again. This time he was Mohammed Mustafa, an engineer, complete with a forged membership card to prove it. He married yet another woman, robbed her of her jewelry, and vanished, using a fake COVID-19 isolation as his excuse to be to this figure. But at this his new wife noticed the apartment they shared was rented under the name Reda Abdel Latif, not Mohammed Mustafa, not the man she thought she had married. And then his own greed sprang the trap. To turn the stolen gold into cash, Farag took it to a jeweler, who happened to be a friend of that same wife. The jeweler grew suspicious as Farag kept coming back with more and more jewelry. He called the wife. She told him what she now believed. Her husband was a fraud, kept coming back with more and more jewelry. When Farag returned the next day to collect his money, the police were waiting. They arrested him for robbery. Just robbery. They had no idea yet what they truly had. Then the pieces fell into place. Rita's family had never stopped searching for their son. Believing Farag might be him, they sent a lawyer to meet the man in custody, who quickly realized he was an imposter. The family filed a missing persons report. An investigation opened. And when they finally confronted Gaddafi Farag with all of it, the stolen identity, the missing people, the years of lies, he confessed. To everything. Investigators went to the homes. They lifted the floors. And one by one they recovered the bodies Farag had buried and paved over, including the apartment where, for years, ordinary families had lived their lives just inches above the dead. Doctors examined him. They wanted to know if he was insane, if some skin. The verdict was chilling in its simplicity. He was not mentally ill. He had understood his actions completely. Every poisoned meal, every grave, every lie told to a grieving family. All of it calculated, clear-eyed, deliberate. He was convicted on 4 counts of murder, along with fraud and forgery, and sentenced to death 4 times over. But the part that stays with you isn't the sentence. It's the friend who trusted him with his savings. The families who slept above the graves and never knew. Gaddafi Farag didn't hide in the dark. He hid in plain sight, inside trust, inside routine, inside the simple human habit of believing the smiling man beside you is exactly who he says he is. That's the lesson the most dangerous people teach us. They never look dangerous at all. If this one stayed with you, you already know what to do. There are more out there. More quiet monsters wearing ordinary faces. This was Vera Nocturne. Dark stories, real cases. Subscribe and stay in the shadows with me. That's where our story ends, for now. If it kept you up, you know what to do. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Sleep well. If you can.